everyone, welcome back. It's Alex and we're here with Flyball Friends. Today we're talking to Dan from England. And you know what, guys, it doesn't really matter where you are from. This sport is for everyone. So let's get right into it, and here is Dan. Welcome, Dan. I'm so glad that you could take time out of your day to be here. If you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Dan Culley, living now currently in about the middle of England in North Manchester, geographically the middle, but not technically the middle. I'm 32. I've been playing flyball for about 10 years now. Just had a 2-year break from flyball, but getting back into it with a new club of my own with my girlfriend Daisy. I'm about 6 foot tall. And probably that's it, unless you want my vital statistics, then that's about as much as I can probably tell you.
That's awesome. What was the team name?
So current team name is Finesse, and that was devised off the back of wanting to introduce some class. And there's a lot of class in flyball, but I like the name that was off the back of having some class and some finite skill to the art of flyball. Because I think beneath it all, that's really what makes a difference between the teams out there is, actually that bit of integrity into that finite bit of skill.
Yeah.
So that's where it came from. The previous team I ran with is pretty well known definitely in the UK and Europe, a team called WOW. And we were multiple record holders in both multi, open, European hot record holders. So yeah, it was a household name of the time, but that team sadly is no longer existing. But I think its legacy is definitely will live on.
Awesome, that's cool. How many dogs do you have, Dan?
So currently I have 16. 6 are retired, 10 are either racing or in training, and only 4 of the present lot are dogs that we'd say, would you be able to throw back out on a full course right now? So a lot of what we've got now is dogs in the foundation stages and coming through into the club.
Cool, that's awesome. And what do you do for a living?
So I work in IT. It's a bit varied what I do, and it ranges from everything from project management, commercial, pre-sales, technical, sales, order fulfillment, bit of everything. I won't bore you with the ones and zeros of it all, but it pays well, gives me a good lifestyle, and I really enjoy it, so that always helps.
That's awesome, good for you. All right, so what got you playing flyball?
I've always had dogs throughout my life. My parents have always had dogs. I've always been interested in sports outside of the dog world anyway, just sports and competitiveness is in my nature.
Yep.
So growing up I used to have a Labrador, Sadie. Used to take her to obedience classes, started off doing a bit of agility, saw that club also did a bit of flyball. She was getting on a bit, so it wasn't really the right thing for her, so I'd always sort of had in the back of my mind that one day it was worth a go. And then had a border collie, the first border collie I'd had, and then was like, right, I think it's about time. Tried flyball, got into it, started off doing it with sort of a Crufts team. Back in the day before I even realised associations in flyball existed. So did it with a Crufts team, did the whole Crufts experience, green carpet with her, and then it really went from that in terms of flyball, as I say, the globe knows it, and then decided to go off it alone, and from then did the WOW team was my own and my ex-partner's team. So yeah, set off on the path of discovery of flyball from that.
Awesome. But what year did you do Crufts?
I think now, what are we now, 2020, so I think it's probably got to be in the region of 2009, 2010.
Wow, cool.
It was on the old style box. The box, I think it was one of the last years before they changed to the sort of flat front or boomerang box. It was the old box where hit the front pedal, the ball gets catapulted from behind. It was one of the last years of that. So looking back at that, it's a bit scary. If the video's out there, there's actually part of it me having a tantrum on the green carpet because the box, literally it was the first year that Pedigree, the dog food brand, had sponsored Crufts, and they'd painted all the boxes. So the box mechanisms had really stiffened up because of all the new paint had bedded in, because they just used the old boxes. And my dog was only I think she was a 12, 13 kilo border collie. She was only little, went down, pedaled the box, nothing happened. So she went back round the back, stole the ball, and that was it. That lost us the race. So there's a clip where you can see a ball catapulting across the arena where I've kicked it in distaste at the fact that the box didn't work properly. So that'll be hiding somewhere, I'm sure, on the internet, but I haven't yet found it, so luckily. But I even zoomed in on the video to check she had pedaled it, and it definitely had, so I was robbed.
Son of a gun, hey? That's no good. All right, when you first started playing flyball, was there a dog out there that really got you kind of hooked and that you just loved to watch?
There was a dog in the cross team that I used to enjoy, and actually got sort of the honour and privilege of running him back in the day. So there's a dog called Hogan. He was probably about retiring when I was running him, so he's well gone, I believe. So I used to really enjoy watching him because he's sort of had a really unique style on that old style of box. And then when I got into running with the BFA, I used to, a few sort of the top teams used to stand, on the sidelines of the top divisions watching all those dogs. So there's a few dogs out there that, really sort of caught my eye for different reasons. I wouldn't say there was one dog that stood out. So I'd like to sort of almost clone and cherry pick some of the qualities of those dogs and put them into the ultimate dog. And then other than that, it was always watching, what the rest of the world was doing on YouTube. When I first started really looking into flyball and where it was on a global scale, I'd say that the world records of that era, were played over and over again to try and see if I could actually figure out what the hell was going on.
That's awesome. All right, how often does your team practice?
So it varies. All depends on the social calendar and what's going on, of course. But we like to get in one full practice a week. But then also, I live on a property with quite a lot of land, so we do have room to do, a box practice on our property regardless of the weather. We've got enough space to do that.
Awesome.
And that's indoors as well, so we can, we can still put the matting down and whatnot. So, I'd like to say twice a week. Reality is, it's not twice a week. It's at least once. Awesome. Obviously, at the minute, it's difficult. It's just box practice at the minute because of the COVID situation. There is the thought that we're going to potentially build our own training barn here, because I've got the room to do it, and will give us a 30, 40 foot by 120 foot building. But sort of playing with the idea of whether that commitment is something that we want to dive in on, and whether actually getting away from home to do a bit of flyball and then coming back and knowing flyball's not there is actually maybe a better thing to do. We're not sure yet, but watch this space.
That's cool. I'm jealous. I wish I had that kind of room.
Yeah, very fortunate.
How often do you guys go to tournaments?
I've throughout the career, I've been to one a week. I've been to one a month. I've been to, I've done every variant of it throughout the year.
Yeah.
And I think from what I've learned and what I've seen over the years of experience and all the rest of it, I'd like to say that moving forwards, we'll be doing no more than probably maximum 2 a month. But realistically, if we did 2 a month, we'd definitely only do 1 a month after. But I'd like to get 6 in a year.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'd like to stick to the warmer months because I don't think the conditions over here are great for even indoors, unless it's a heated building. They just don't suit running on mats over here through the winter months. I struggle with it. And I'd rather use that time to rehabilitate the dogs, get them back to fitness, put a bit of weight back on them, and give them a bit of time off.
For sure. Do you guys have any tournaments outdoors there?
Yeah, I'd still say the majority of the flyball over here, in Europe as a whole, is outdoor. Back in the day when indoors first got introduced over here, it's probably 5 or 6 years ago now. Okay. We were one of the first teams, not the first, but one of the first teams to sort of solely say, yep, we're only doing indoors now. But it is still predominantly outdoors. I don't think that the indoors would be as much of an issue if we had stability in the weather. So there's definitely a place for both. It's just obviously the consistency of indoors outweighs the weather conditions over here, unfortunately.
For sure. Do you travel lots then for flyball, or do you mostly just do local stuff?
We do travel where we need to. I'd say that it tends to be no more than 3 to 4 hours. But being relatively central geographically does help that, because 3 to 4 hours north is quite a way into Scotland. 3 to 4 hours south is, well past Birmingham and down into the south of the country. So, we're quite fortunate that, within, let's say, a 2-hour radius for definite, we can, quite comfortably find shows to go to.
Awesome. And what would be the farthest you've been for Flyball?
That would be Utah.
Wow.
So either Utah or Kingman. So, out that way.
That's awesome.
When I've travelled overseas, that I'd say that's the furthest.
And did you go for actual racing, or did you just go to watch?
No, went to race. I'm good friends with Touch and Go. So whenever I can, hopefully twice a year, I try and get out there and time it with them. They've got tournaments and become a honorary member for the weekend that I'm out there and the practices that are going on. So yeah, that tends to be my getaway flyball, and just to see some stuff a bit different.
Cool, that's awesome. Good for you. What would be one of the more important things you learned when you first started playing flyball?
I'd say one of the most important things that I learned was probably just to take the time.
Yeah.
Take the time to really understand what it is you're trying to achieve. Where are you going? I always knew when I entered flyball where I wanted to go with it, but that was off the back of my competitive nature and the sports that I've played in previous lives and where I got with those. But you see a lot of people coming in and just sort of almost trying to go with the trend and go with who shouts the loudest. And really, I don't think that's always in everyone's best interests. I get people are, let's say, worried about getting left behind or worried about that they don't know enough. But I think asking a lot of people would really give you a measure of where you want to go with it and actually what techniques there are. Because for someone just coming in for fun and just coming in to have some good technique, really, I think there's a lot of methods out there that are suited to them that would, let's say, not be in the mainstream of the top teams out there. Because there is, for me, there's not much excuse for, poor technique. I think if you take your time and you do it, I think you can still get there and make it safe for the dogs. I hate to see, unsafe practices.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. Okay, so now, out of all your dogs in your whole career, was there one that you just loved enjoying over any of the other ones? It could be yours or somebody else's.
Yeah, that's going to be probably my official first flyball dog, and that's a dog called Dylan. He's the Peter Pan. We call him Peter Pan because he's the dog that never grew up. He's now 14. He'll be 15 March next year. I refuse to accept the fact that he's getting old. I refuse to accept the fact that he won't be with me one day. But he achieved some pretty good stuff. Multiple British record holder in his day, all outdoors on grass, going back probably 8 or 9 years. He'd give you 3/8 all day on grass, no matter the conditions.
Awesome.
He's a big lad. He's an unconventionally built border collie. He's a complete freak when it comes to certain things. He's just one of them dogs that you just can't help but love. So yeah, nothing will ever replace him.
That's awesome. Now, any place in the world that you'd still love to go, whether it's compete, train, or even just watch flyball?
It's got to be out to Vegas still. That's my second home. That's where I go for my flyball release and it's almost like a flyball rehab. When I go out there, there's it's a different way of life. I'm on holiday as well, so I can really relax and enjoy it. Yeah. Got great friends out there. So, if I get the excuse to go, then, I'm on a plane over there straight away.
That's awesome. Good for you for getting that. Now, what exactly do you like about playing flyball?
I like the amount of variables. I like the fact that there is no set way of doing things. Mm-hmm. I like the fact that you can really take a dog and you can throw everything you thought you knew at it and it doesn't work. And as much as you'll be banging your head up a brick wall and you'll cry into your pillow at night, eventually you'll crack it. But that is actually part of the path of, the discovery of actually really understanding why you're doing something and how you're getting there. I like the fact that there is so much variation in how you get there. So you can't just go and copy someone and actually get the same success.
Yeah.
those little tweaks and those little things that you find along the way that actually, I think, give you that eye that you either have or you don't.
That's cool. Good for you for having that. All right. What would be one of your earliest memories of flyball?
Earliest memories of flyball. I think it'll be stood at the side of my first year at the top championships, at the, watching the top teams go at it, and and really thinking, okay, that's where I need to be. Watching what we thought back then was amazing, but realistically was probably not much below the 17-second barrier.
Yeah.
And to think where flyball is now is scary, especially in the UK. Overseas, you guys have always been that bit ahead in that sense, but back then it was worlds apart. So watching that, you thought these dogs were running at light speed, but compared to what you can get out of dogs now, it was nothing. But yeah, that was the first memories, was really the buzz of being new to the sport and not knowing anyone, and just really watching from afar and seeing what goes on.
For sure. Now, is there one team out there, or maybe even just a person out there, that you just love racing against?
I'd like to say there was, and I'd like to say that I'm paying attention, but when it's game time, then it's time to knuckle down and focus on what I'm doing.
That's awesome.
It's definitely I've been taught to run my race.
That's
so
cool.
If I'm running my race, then no matter what else is going on, then I'm gonna do what I need to do.
Awesome. All right, now, do you have a favorite memory of flyball, whether it's on or maybe off the racing lanes?
Favorite memory would probably be the first time we broke an indoor British record, and that was the first indoor record in the UK to be broken. So it's quite a big statement in terms of the UK and where it had been, and all the records previous to being out on grass.
Yep.
It was significant because it was 3 of the dogs in the team had been bred by me, 3 border collies. The other dog was a height dog, a little staffy. And also it was back, I think that was the last record that I think my stepdad saw. And he was relatively new to flyball. I think he'd recently had his cancer diagnosis. So actually, it was significant because it was a bit of a family moment that we could share. It was definitely significant in that respect.
Do you have any personal goals playing the sport?
I'd say I've always achieved my personal goals that I've set out to do. So I wouldn't say I have any new personal goals, because I've been there and sort of done them. I'd say the biggest personal goal at the minute is just to relax and enjoy what I'm doing. I am competitive, so no matter what goes on, my goals are always going to be aligned with getting towards the top. So that's just the nature of me. It's the nature of what I do in whatever I sort of throw myself at. But yeah, the main thing right now is to sort of enjoy my time doing flyball again, and actually switch off from it, not let it become the obsession that it had before. Enjoy time outside of flyball. Awesome.
Now, do you look up to anyone in flyball? Maybe it was when you first started, or maybe even now?
Yeah, my definite mentor throughout my whole flyball career has been Katie Kaler, Touch and Go. I reached out to her on a whim, probably about 7 years ago now, on the off chance, knowing that they were who they were, on the off chance that she might actually, reply, some kind of celebrity in the flyball world. And she did, and that was the start of an incredible friendship. We've been friends now since that time. We're incredibly good friends. She's been there from the start for me. She's there throughout whatever it is, flyball wise, personal wise, she's always there for me, and has introduced me to an extended family out in Vegas. And in the flyball sense, the first thing she ever told me was, right, Dan, sit down, forget everything you know. Time to rebuild. So I did that, I listened, and based on the successes and some of the achievements I've got, then I did listen, and I owe pretty much all of my foundation knowledge and where I am today to Katie.
That's awesome. Thanks, Katie.
Yeah, definitely. I try and thank her whenever I can. So this is probably the most public video thanks that she's ever had. So
Do you have any hobbies outside of playing flyball?
Yeah, so I like shooting. I enjoy shooting. The laws and restrictions over here are quite strict, so it has to be probably with what you guys would class as a pea shooter. But when I get out to Vegas, I take full advantage of the gun ranges out there. Driving, I come from a family of what you class as semi drivers,
Okay.
so truck drivers. So driving to me has always been a passion and a love, whether that just be driving to Flyball or driving for, to Europe to go and pick up a dog that we've imported from overseas. And then the rest of the time is actually enjoying time, booking holidays, spending time with the family, enjoying time with my girls, spending time doing the things I enjoy with the people that I love.
Awesome. Now, do your girls still play flyball, or do they play flyball?
Yeah, they play flyball. They do flyball with their mum. They live 2 hours away from me now, so I'll be lucky not to really do flyball with them because, I'll use my time for quality time with them because I get less time with them that way. But yeah, they play flyball. They've been brought up around flyball. They know the score. They've got their own little techniques and their own little ways of doing things. But yeah, they're definitely flyball kids.
Cool. Now, is there anything that you would recommend to someone starting out in flyball?
Get your foundation right. No matter whether the dog is a puppy, whether the dog is an experienced, dog in terms of its training outside of flyball, get your foundation right, because you'd be amazed at, in my opinion, the amount of things that you will do outside of, the flyball training that will affect your dog. The amount of times we've tried to look at striding and we've tried to fix striding issues, and all of a sudden it's like, well, let's talk about how you live at home. Oh, well, we have a stair gate, but this dog's a pain in the backside. It just jumps the baby gate all day long. Well, if all your dog is doing is bouncing everything around and jumping everything, well, how do you expect to ever get it to put its feet down and stop launching things?
Yeah.
That really is something that, I think that is important. Try and give every situation context. Don't just look at what's put in front of you straight away. Try and really understand, where you're getting either your results or your failures from. Give it context, Don't just go out there, throw a dog up and down the lane and it run an incredible time and think that, right, put that straight in the lineup and you're going to start breaking records. Because it doesn't happen like that.
Yeah.
And actually sit down with your team and get your team on board. Understand as a team, get moving in the same direction and all understand, what is your success criteria? Where are you going with this and what do you want to achieve as a team? So if you're not on the same page, it's going to be a difficult journey.
Yeah. Well put. I like that. All right. Well, I think that's all I have for you, other than I would like you to challenge someone to do another interview with me.
So I'm going to challenge a good friend of mine. He's probably under the radar in terms of the social side of things. So I think actually he's just released a new logo. I think it's time he got his face out there. It's a gentleman called Bhavnesh Patel. He runs a team, one of the oldest, I say, established teams in the UK, a team called Molten Magnets. So I think he'd give a really good insight with his knowledge of the history of the game. And, when he took over the team, his predecessors have been in flyball for probably longer than I've been alive.
Awesome. That's cool. Well, thank you for nominating. I will see if I can get in contact with them and hopefully get them on the channel at some point soon here. Other than that, I have nothing else for you, Dan, so thank you so much again for being here. I can't wait to try and get out there to see you guys, or maybe at some point, maybe I'll see you in Utah. That's a little bit closer for me than going out that way. So other than that, hopefully we'll see each other on the racing lanes.
Brilliant.
Thanks again, Dan, for being here and talking flyball with me. If you guys are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell to make sure you're getting all the notifications when I post something. If you guys hit that like button, that would be greatly appreciated if you like today's video. And I have tons of information if you need more about Dan's team in the description below. Also, if you need some more information on flyball or you're looking to find a team, there's links in the description below that you could check out too. Until next time, guys, see you then.